Hello, my name is Andreas. I'm going to quickly demonstrate some common useful debugging tools in Microsoft Visual Studio for the class TDDD49, C# and .NET. The simplest are breakpoints that let you pause a program's execution and inspect the content of a variable. In this example, we have a function that references the member of a remote class in a Windows Communication Foundation service. Specifically, it's the function that runs when we press the connect button in our chat application that I'm going to show you now. This is our chat application. So if we want to look at the variables in this context, we can place a breakpoint right here. And then if we press the connect button in our chat app, the execution runs until we reach this line. Now we can hover over variables in this local scope to see their content. For example, this simple string contains our username, guessed right now, but we can change it to whatever we want. And we can also see the content of complex objects, such as this reference class to our WCF service, which is it's currently null, but we can pin this value to see if it changes later. And it will hang around here on the side, and we can even add a comment in case we forget why we pinned it in the first place. This little screen down here is right here is the locals window. It shows all local variables within this class, which in this case includes some inherited classes, all the controls in the form, and our client object right here, as we can see, still null. The yellow arrow on the side is the next statement that will be executed in the program. We could drag it around, not outside the context though, so only within this function. Anyway, let's just step to the next line using the F10 button. We see that the pinned data tip over here flashes red as the value for client changes. We can now inspect this object and see all of its members, which in this case happen to be quite a few. Now, if we continue execution as such, we can see that we are connected using the new username we entered. Now let's place another breakpoint. For example, let's see what happens when we send a new chat message to the server. We can remove this old one and put a new breakpoint over here. If we right-click this breakpoint, we see some options for more advanced breakpoint configurations. We can add a conditional, and we can specify that we only want the debugger to break here if, say, the chat input string is equal to break. Now if we resume, we can enter a regular chat string and nothing will happen. But if we type in break, the breakpoint here will trigger, and we can see the chat input here, which is like you'd expect, and our username. There's one more window here we haven't talked about, the immediate window in the corner here. It sort of functions like an interpreter. You can enter certain commands and have Visual Studio evaluate them instantly. For example, to print a value, we can enter the debug print command to get the value of username, and it prints our name there. And we also have the assignments operator, so we can change the username to something different again by simply assigning it a new value like this. And as we can see, this change is immediately reflected in our variables, and if we press play again, we can see the username has changed in our program. And there's one more thing I want to show with breakpoints. Let's disable this condition here. We can add a response to this breakpoint to be run when the breakpoint is hit. By default, this will just show the function name, but we can alter this to show the value of the string we send to the server. We can print the value of a variable using curly braces, so we can enter message sent to be chat input text and then choose to continue execution. Now if we switch to the output screen here and press the submit button, we can see that in the output log it shows we sent that message. Using these debugging tools we have at our disposal, we can make debugging a lot less painful and quickly isolate a problem in our application. And one of the tools you could also use that I did not bring up here is called IntelliTrace. You could find that here. I'm not going to get into that. It's a powerful historical debugger. It's very useful for debugging larger applications with multiple levels of architecture. I don't have time to go into that right now though, but I did link a screencast that provides a more in-depth tutorial on that specifically. Good luck.